I'll turn you around. Hey, we're live. Oh, yeah. It's, guess what? 2. Yeah, it's actually 2 this week. 2 Dynamite dudes on a rampage. This is Dominic DeAngelo, WrestleZone.com, and of PodcastHeat.com, and of AdFreeShows.com. Oh, and also of AdFreeShows.com is my degenerate brother who decided to grace us with his fucking presence this week, Marcus DeAngelo. Marcus, welcome back.
Well, thanks, Dom. Boy, oh boy, nice to be back. Nice to be back. Steven Chambers, what's up, brother? Yeah, it's it feels like it's been many moons since we did this, Dom.
I know. We were on a great streak. I think we had like 6 going, right? Was that 6 in a row?
Yes. John Howard. John Howard's like, what the fuck? Where you guys been? What you been doing?
What the hell?
Where have we been, Dom? We were in Dallas.
Yeah, we were both in Dallas. And then
that was like 3 weeks ago. No excuse.
No excuse there. And then the week after, we hit a snag like, oh, we'll do it next week. We'll do it next week. And then after that, we had a like friend commitment that we had to do, and then we never were able to do it. So I did it solo last week, and the reception was great. We trashed you a lot, so that was always nice.
Oh, that's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you deserve it. So.
Hey man, I'm just glad we're back in it. Missed everybody, missed chatting about wrestling, and boy oh boy, do we have some stuff to discuss.
We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Lots of stuff. Especially, hey, you know what? Dynamite was in Pittsburgh this week, and guess who was there? This guy, being a journalist and what have you. Got to do the coverage. So, yes, I was there. But first off, I think we'll talk about what the big announcement happened to be. Tony Khan's big announcement. Marcus, did you have any guesses beforehand what this may have been before Tony Khan made this? And if so, if it was different, what was your estimation?
I was between 2. I assumed he was either going to announce some kind of a TV deal for ROH, or it was going to be the announcement of a streaming service. Which, in my opinion, would have been way premature. I think that, it's important to continue to get over, and you and I discussed this, and actually, weirdly, after you and I discussed it, Eric discussed it. I think it was either on
Strictly
83
Business?
Weeks or Strictly Business. I can't remember which. I want to say it was actually 83 Weeks. But he discussed it, and he sort of had the same opinion, where it's like, hey, we gotta continue kind of building the awareness of ROH before you think about opening up a streaming service with that library, because there's a very small percentage of humans across the United States that really actually know what it is.
You have to kind of consider like ROH from an ardent fan standpoint, and I talked about this on another show that I was on with Stu Myrick, the Horn, down in Austin, Texas, and said about ardent fans are aware of what ROH is, and if you're embedded into the fabric of all elite wrestling, a lot of its origins come from Ring of Honor, because you look at the All In show that took place in Chicago. A lot of that talent there was ROH, and a lot of that
100%.
talent, and a lot of that talent featured at the top of the card for AEW, especially in the early stages, was Ring of Honor folks, like from the Young Bucks to Cody to Kenny a bit, and to Hangman Page.
Problem is, Dom, that it's just there just wasn't a big enough audience that knew that. That would be like saying, well, everybody should know about FCW because that's where John Cena came from before he came to that's what gave birth to John Cena or Randy Orton or whatever. Was it FCW or what was the
FCW? Well, OVW.
OVW, that's what I'm thinking. So no, not necessarily. It's like I didn't know what OVW was when I was a casual fan, but now I do. Now that I've paid attention to it for long enough. So that it's silliness to think that you could just start a streaming service and say, okay, here comes my return on investment. It's going to take a while to build it. Dominic Nesha said that you did a good job without me. I didn't watch it, but I doubt it.
Oh, thanks for not watching.
You probably didn't.
Thanks for the support, Marcus.
Dominic, I'm not sitting there just fucking around, pal. I got shit to do.
Shit to do is maybe studying up on how you can better yourself by watching your older brother kick some ass on streaming.
That sounded like you were about to segue into a sponsorship, and I was like, did we get sponsors while I was away? Here's what you could do better.
You know what? I'm not against making up sponsors until we actually get them.
Hate that idea. Let's hammer on, Dom. You said that we're on a limited time here.
We are on a bit of a limited time because I have to cover Impact Rebellion.
So Dominic, our loyal, I'm not going to call them listeners, our loyal fans, Dom, have been waiting to hear from us. and you're just saying, "Hey, great to see everybody. Fuck off.
Hey.
We got very limited time."
Hey, no, they respect my job. What I have to do. I'm going to be covering Impact Rebellion tonight. Nesha's aware of Impact Rebellion. She's going to be
Nesha knows
watching
about
it.
it.
Who knows? And if she's not watching it, she can just read my coverage because that's what I'm doing. But either way,
Steven Chambers agreed with me, Dom. He thought it was going to be a streaming service announcement, but he's good with this. The New Japan Super Show. Okada and Danielson, chef's kiss.
Yes. Well, so like, yeah, I kind of, I was more, the reports I heard initially was the New Japan deal. I think Meltzer maybe said something about it like earlier in the week or something like that. So I was kind of under that impression that that's probably what it was going to be. But yeah, I was kind of leaning towards more of the streaming service because and we talked about this weeks ago, was that if they announce the streaming service deal, it's big news. It's big industry news. It's huge industry news. But from like, if you're watching a television product, it's not big television product news, for a fan to be like, oh yeah, hell yeah, it'd be more so like, hey, this is going to be big for the industry and good for them. Because if they get like, if AEW gets like synced in with HBO Max, like that's big news. Like, because it kind of puts some little, like with all the changes that they've had with the buyout. I think who bought out the Time Warner Turner right now just recently, Marcus? What's the name of that company?
Oh,
Discovery. Thank you. Discovery. Yes. So like, it's not
Kevin Davis. What's up?
Hey,
go ahead, Dom.
It's not that like they're on troubled waters right now, but it's just kind of just unknown. Like, hey, what's next?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. A lot of people are like, is it going to survive? Yes. It's just a matter of where it's going to survive, how it's going to survive. But yeah, I mean, AEW's not going anywhere.
Yes. Hey, we're doing good, Kevin. Thanks for it's going good today. I was busy today. Busy
day.
Oh yeah. But to the point of what the announcement is, Forbidden Door, like I think it's pretty cool. Like it's, you have to, the thing is with the pandemic happening, New Japan's kind of took a back seat, in the pro wrestling world, it seemed, and when they were freaking hot. Plus you add in the factors that, okay, they lost like Kenny Omega, Tanahashi's kind of been on the table of like being hurt and stuff like that, and kind of he's getting up there and all that stuff, and Okada's still there and everything like that, but they've been really trying to find their footing recently, and so they kind of got to get back into the relevance of things in a lot of ways. And so we've gotten little teasers with Minoru Suzuki coming in and Ishii this past week here, and we had Yuji Nagata a while back and all that kind of thing. But it's like, yeah, you gotta kind of, it's almost in a way like another ROH kind of brand where you have to familiarize your big viewership that you want to rope in to what New Japan is a little bit more, and familiarize the stars with them. What's
Kevin?
up?
Kevin is like, I'm sorry, I disrespect you. No, I don't recall seeing any disrespect, Kevin. We're good. We're cool, man.
We're good, brother. We're good,
we love
man.
You, Kevin. We like when you
like when you pop in.
You're like our favorite relative, right? The one that just like pops in. It's just like, what's up, everybody? All right, see you next time.
Yeah,
that's So do your thing, Kevin. You're the man.
Heck yeah, brother. So, but with ultimately, like, this is going to be a lot of fun to see these kind of matches in this. Anytime you do like a cross promotion thing, and especially if you're a hardcore ardent fan, it's going to be good stuff. Like, it's kind of exciting to see these brands come together, and like maybe the presentation will be different, commentary may be different, something different that will make this stand out in a lot of ways. And it's happening on June 26th in Chicago. Marcus, I know you're not super very familiar with New Japan, but it's on your radar. So, kind of just from your perspective, how does this feel? Does this feel like it could something to deliver? How do you rope in more like of a bigger fan base? And is it a big deal that even if it's just like a big focus for hardcore fans, is that a big deal either way? Is that an issue? I mean, or what? How do you?
I would say that it's a big deal in that it's they are. Anytime you can cross promote with a brand that's as established, regardless of whether it's in America or wherever, a brand that's as established as New Japan is, that's a good thing. Anytime that you can kind of like hit your wagon there. I would say that it's not a good thing, and this is really the only way that it's not a good thing, and it's in that. So we've got this stacked roster, and then we're saying, hey, let's bring in ROH. We just bought ROH, so now we've got full access to all those people. And then it's like, hey, let's partner up with New Japan. And so it's like, hey, that's awesome. Where and when am I consuming all this? Like, I have time to watch Dynamite. Me personally, I'll usually watch Monday Night Raw while I'm working, and that's it. So it's like, hey, that's great that you're providing people with more options. Are people going to consume all these other options? I don't know.
Well, I mean, this is just a standalone show here, though.
So doesn't it kind of point to more of a sustained partnership?
Yeah, I think it does. Like in the grand scheme of things, like eventually, like you might have some crossover, or like once everything.
I mean, look. Sorry to interrupt. If they stick with pay-per-views, then fantastic. But like, I feel like for the layman, for the fan that's not as familiar with New Japan, such as myself, that you're gonna have to get some of these big name players from New Japan on TV. And that being the case, we are now consuming more TV time with. Well, we already have a packed roster, right?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, it does make sense. And like there's a very like everything is pretty jam packed and fast paced on Dynamite as it is right now. So it's like to incorporate more into that provides a little bit of a challenge, if you will. And so yeah, that's something very much to consider. And like it's June 26th, so there's time to build to it. So you do have time. You can kind of, if you kind of focus on a game plan and make something, lay out something, you could at least do like profiles of some of these guys week in and week out to familiarize some folks with, hey, who's this Okada fellow? Let's hear a little bit more about him. Or
yeah, I mean, it's not everybody is diehard enough to know who Okada is,
right?
So yeah, it's I think that you have to present them on TV, and again, we're just consuming more of those quarter hours, pal.
Exactly.
Nesha tries to watch everything, Dom. So does Stephen Chambers. It's a lot. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan. Everybody says that, like the '90s Monday Night War was the golden age, and it probably was as far as content is concerned. But as far
excitement, I would say.
Yeah, well, I say content. What I really mean is storyline. Content of the shows. As far as overall content, consumable content, wrestling that you can watch, this is the golden age. This is it. Imagine, us having access to every single territory back in the day. That's what this is basically. You can't, if you want it bad enough, you can watch wrestling from anywhere.
At basically any day too.
Yep.
Like tonight, Rebellion's tonight. Tomorrow they got Baron Black's running his Battle Slam Vendetta show. I mean, that's not streaming, but it's happening in Atlanta. And so, but there's wrestling to be watched and consumed. What was I going to say? Oh, so I guess this leads me into what people, I don't know how familiar. I introduced you to this video before we went on here, Marcus.
And, yeah.
Let me see if I can find the little. Did I make the little ticker for this one? I thought I did. Maybe it didn't kick in. Either way, there's been an individual on social media. He made a little video about. He's a contributor to the Forbes blog, I believe, but he made a little video saying that it's a kind of a strange take. Is that this is only appealing to the male hardcore fan base, is this New Japan show and everything like that. And like, I don't know, from a perspective, there's women wrestling fans, but isn't like the overall encompassing vibe of wrestling in general for years. I mean, sure, there's women's fans, but like a lot of, you just typically in general see a lot of dudes at wrestling shows.
What's been the demographic since, the Monday Night Wars? It's 18 to 45-year-old males.
Yes.
That's the demo. Now, that being said, I am seeing, and this is great, we're seeing many more women's wrestling fans or female wrestling fans showing up at events. So I don't really see the point in that statement. He's saying, I caught where this guy was saying that well, New Japan doesn't even have a women's roster, so clearly this is just going to be all dudes. And it's like, yes, maybe not. Like, how often have we seen intergender matches now? It's kind of a staple in today's wrestling. So,
well, not even that, Marcus, but I mean, like, there could be the thing. I mean, look at how AEW's women division started with a lot of Joshi wrestlers and stuff like that coming in. So, I mean, like, you could have that stuff on the card, and it doesn't. I don't know, and even. I don't think this appeals, like, it just appeals to a hardcore wrestling fan. I don't think Go ahead.
If there's a pay-per-view happening, I can't picture Britt Baker not being there. I can't picture Thunder Rosa not being there in some capacity. And like, maybe we can just have 2 AEW wrestlers wrestle each other. Is that a huge issue? Let's get Bull Nakano out of retirement. Love Bull Nakano.
Man, let's get. I mean, there's plenty of like Joshi wrestlers too you could incorporate in there as well. And like Aja Khan, she started working with AEW, I think, really at the beginning a lot of the ways. And like,
yeah.
It's just like, hey, it's just a weird thing to kind of label it as, okay, this is strictly for the hardcore male fans, and that's what's going to appeal to them. It's just,
hey Nesha, as a female, you're saying you're 42. You've always been a weird gal and have always watched wrestling. It's not weird. It's awesome.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this pay-per-view? Are you
she said in the comments earlier, she's like she hasn't watched New Japan in years, but is excited for the show.
Yeah,
so,
well, that's awesome. And
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's kind of a silly take.
It is a silly take. He got a lot of flack on there. Let's say that. Okay, but let's get to what exactly went down a little bit more on Dynamite here.
Oh, let's talk Dynamite.
Yes, I was there. The crowd was pretty into a lot of the stuff, and they had some pleasant surprises on Dark. Well, I think it was Elevation that
I got to handle a cat situation. I'll be right back.
For it. Was that the cat or the baby? I didn't know which one it was.
What's that?
I heard a cry in the back, and I was
that was Mon.
Okay, that was Mon. Okay, jeez, make plenty of noise, Marcus. That's fine. But yes, so I was there, and that Dark is going to be a treat this coming week. Dark Elevation and stuff, because you had Minoru Suzuki on the program. You had what's the guy's name? I don't want to say it badly. Takashita. I don't know. He wrestled on there. Oh gosh, there was somebody else that was pretty of note on there too. Oh, Penta, and fought in the main event against somebody. It was a pretty notable match.
James, what's up?
Hey, brother. So yeah, but that was a nice little treat. But then Dynamite was great, man. You know me, Marcus. Big, huge Dustin Rhodes guy.
Big, huge Dustin Rhodes guy.
Big, huge Dustin Rhodes guy. Big, huge CM Punk guy. So them firing off Dynamite with CM Punk versus Dustin Rhodes in Pittsburgh was awesome.
Did you see the side-by-side videos that were posted afterwards of Bret Hart versus Dustin Rhodes?
I was going to talk about that. And yes.
So why don't you explain that to those who maybe didn't see it?
So yes, if you guys didn't see this on social media, the account, I cannot remember the name offhand, Jose something, I believe, or something with Lucha or something. But either way, he made a little video clip that had like some of the CM Punk and Dustin Rhodes match, making callbacks to when Bret Hart fought Dustin Rhodes, and also to what's the other? Oh, to the finish, the classic finish between Davey Boy and Bret, right? With when did that happen at? That wasn't at Wimbledon. That was another match, right?
I don't know.
Okay. Either way, it was a classic like kind of moment of how Bret pinned Davey Boy Smith, and all that was in the Dustin Rhodes and CM Punk match. A lot of that stuff, a lot of callbacks, a lot of homages. Heck, CM Punk was wearing pink and black. I'm curious, like, if I get a chance to ask Punk a question again in a media scrum, I think that's what I'm going to go with, is talking about, I want him to give me details about this match in specific, of like what him and Dustin were going through. Because even Dustin said on social media that it means that like they put a lot of thought into this basically. And so I kind of want to know the ins and outs of it, if you will.
Yeah, it would be interesting to hear the inside perspective on what they discussed, and if they went back and maybe watched that match between Dustin and Bret to kind of pick up pointers.
Yeah. Hey, James Esponto is back in here. Good to see you, brother.
That's who I just said hi to, motherfucker.
Oh, well, I'm just used to his full name. I'm not used to just James.
James, thanks for the plug on the social media, dude.
Thank you. So where was I going with this? Oh, Marcus, from a viewer perspective from television, how did this match come off for you?
It was great. You know, you've got two performers who, I mean, I think you could argue that Dustin Rhodes is at the top of his game. CM Punk hasn't lost a step. So, I mean, anytime you get two performers with that kind of ability in the ring, I mean, come on. And, you know, plus, you know, this whole like Bret Hart callback thing, it kind of just proves like these guys aren't just back there like, yeah, we'll I'll call it in the ring, we'll figure it out, like that old school kind of mentality. They're back there thinking about it, giving it some very serious thought and wanting to put on the best possible match they can together, and they did.
Yeah, told a great story and stuff like that. And like, it's kind of neat, just two baby faces at the end, just like embracing and celebrating in the ring, and it's a good way to kick off the show, I thought.
Oh, in the stare down, Dom. Oh, in the stare down.
Oh yes.
Oh yes. Boy.
If you're booking this out, Marcus, how would you make it? Is this what we're seeing at Double or Nothing? Going to be Punk and Page? I mean, I think that's what it's going to be, right?
Yeah, probably. So you can kind of go one way or the other when it comes to this, as far as like how I see it playing out. So as I've discussed on here, he's kind of being Hangman Page. He's kind of one of those champions where it's just pronouns. Damn it, one of those champions. It's just very nondescript, right? Where it's like kind of no huge like super pull you in type storyline. Like a lot of the storyline, as I've discussed here before, is kind of like reserved for other members of the roster, all the really juicy storylines. So it hasn't really been that interesting. I think he's an awesome performer in every single way, but it just hasn't been interesting having him as champion. So you could look at it that CM Punk is going to put him over to further cement him as the guy. You could also look at it as, okay, it hasn't been working with Adam Page. Maybe some of the people who are advertising on the program have asked, hey, when is CM Punk going to be the flag bearer of the company? I don't know if that's a thing that happens, but I would think that if I was going to be advertising on the program, I'd be like, okay, who's their top draw? And that guy's not wearing the belt. So something to think about for sure. So yeah, you kind of go one way or the other on this one.
You could also see is that CM Punk is wanting to really do that. Is like, he knows that's kind of why he's here, is to put new guys over, get guys over. And so him going up against Hangman Page and like, hey, let's really elevate him, to the next level here. And if you tie him up into a good story with CM Punk, who is an expert at telling stories, not just on the mic, but in the ring, as we saw with Dustin, then heck, man, you're hopefully putting Hangman Page in a good position too, because you've been saying this, since Hangman's basically been champion, is like, he's been there, but you almost don't think about him. And
right. When he comes out, I'm like, oh yeah, I love Hangman Page. But when I don't see him, I'm not waiting for him to come out. And that's a problem. Dom, Steven Chambers is calling it new champ, Punk.
Okay.
He's not digging Hangman.
Yeah. Well, that's what John Howard says too, is CM Punk wins, then finishes the feud with MJF, where MJF wins the title.
But I think that no matter how you slice it, MJF is either next up to win that title or the next one after to win the title. I was saying that he should be next up, but I think that John Howard makes a good point. If CM Punk, if they do decide, okay, we've had the Hangman Page experiment is over, let's put the belt on Punk, then obviously, he's got to have a strong heel to come up against. He's had a lot of chemistry with MJF. They kind of continue that storyline. MJF beat him twice in one night. So
here's the thing. I don't think the thing's up with Page. I think they're gonna ride him and work it out. Like, especially, and I think pairing him with Punk is gonna do that. Like, that's their big play with this. And so it's gonna be extremely key, because CM Punk's been in the forefront on AEW. With the feuds with MJF and stuff like that. And now, so hey, it's time to get the world champion in that. So who better to pair him with CM Punk? Who better to put him over than CM Punk? And, if CM Punk even loses, it's not like it's going to hurt CM Punk. It will only help Hangman Page. So
agree.
So there you go. I don't think they're going to, I don't think this is going to be a transition where like, hey, we're bailing on Hangman. We're just put the belt on Punk. I think it's more.
I think if I was running the company, I'd probably say, okay, this is going to be our final shot with Hangman Page. Like, let's see if we can get him in a strong storyline and help him to get over more as champion. Dominic Nesha can't wait for Danhausen versus Hook.
Maybe I bet that was intentional, Nesha. Was that intentional?
Of course. No, she corrected herself below. Fucking, what's that called? Autocorrect. But in any case, Dominic, hilariously, you can hear that JR is not a fan of this situation.
Well, I didn't hear because I wasn't there. I wasn't in front of my television.
He didn't say anything overt by any means. Just like context clues. I'm like, I don't think he's so JR is very much of the Bill Watts school of pro wrestling. I'm like, how would Bill Watts feel about Danhausen? He'd love him, right?
He would not on his television.
No, he wouldn't. So JR tends to lay out when Danhausen comes around. Pay attention next time, folks. Whenever Danhausen is out there, JR is just like,
it's very weird because
if I open my mouth, I'm going to say something hideous. So just not going to say anything.
It's very weird that, like in a way, because I don't really listen too much to him, but Cornette was a big Danhausen fan. I don't know how he feels about him now that he's in AEW, but
I remember Cornette saying he likes Danhausen, but probably because he hasn't seen him wrestle. He's like, I've only seen his promos, so I like him. He's funny, but if I see him wrestle, he might get heat with me.
Well, I mean, it looks like we're going to be seeing that here pretty soon because, on Dynamite, Hook spoke. And he was like, "You got my attention," and that's because he had his Frito-Lays with him, so crushing the chips.
Feels like some strange booking, Dom. There's chips involved.
The chips. I mean, Hook likes chips though. He's been eating chips and Fritos and Cheetos and all that.
I shouldn't know that about Hook. There's no reason for me to know.
He just does that in the background though, even before he was really promoted as fighting. Heck, I thought Hook's Dynamite debut was a lot of fun. The guy's over. He's over. So, I mean,
I love his work.
I'm curious of what they're gonna go about it because it's such a contrast of things. Like I thought it was just gonna be a side kind of story with Hook, but this is like, okay, he's in a kind of a feud with Danhausen now. So
I like Hook doing like judo throws and stuff. Hook is interesting because I think that down the road here, eventually, at least to me, it should be that like, okay, Hook is super over. I wonder what it would look like if he got in the ring with CM Punk. How would that turn out?
I think that's gonna happen at some point here.
So interesting stuff going on. But yeah, it's Steven, good call. Kudos to AEW not rushing Hook. Exactly. Yeah. If you shoot him to the main event right now, that's a problem. Not only is he too young, but again, you want to kind of do a slow build. You want to build anticipation where everybody's like I just said, like, when is Hook going to wrestle CM Punk?
Yeah.
When are we going to see him against Daniel Bryan, Hangman Page, Kenny Omega? The list goes on and on. How would he do against Wardlow, who's also kind of red hot? So it's fun to think of the possibilities, but leave him wanting more, pal.
Yeah, I'll even want more. Yes, I'm running out of time personally, so we got to kind of rush through a few things, but let's, what do I want to talk
about? Dom, quick question. How long have you hated everybody in this chat?
Well, I'm vicariously living my hatred through you because, you're just an asshole.
Don't fade the heat to me, Dom.
Hammer on the heat on you. Jade Cargill, 30th win on, AEW Rampage in Pittsburgh. Jade Cargill's a star, right? Man, geez. Crazy.
Yeah, she is. And they're really, the fact they're counting her wins. They're really leaning into this whole Goldberg situation with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And it's, she is a star. Like, geez, from her look to, and she getting better in the ring every week that you see. And it's just like telling stories like that, like her fucking booting Marina Shafir in the face. Like while she's in a leg lock, that was a story in itself, and that was a lot of fun to watch. It was a fun match, and
you know why she's so marketable is because and Nesha hates Jade, but why she's so marketable is that you could time warp her to the 70s and she's over. 80s, she's over. Any name an era, she's over. Yeah, the 1800s wrestling when it was like at a circus. If she shows up to fight one of the dudes, it'd be like, fuck yes, get that lady in here. She's awesome.
Get her up against Stanislaus Zbyszko.
I mean, she's got it. That's what makes her great.
I'm excited for her, and they just got to keep riding that wave. Jade's awesome. I love how she's just like, she's kind of like pays attention, but she doesn't give a shit either. So she's like, Mark, handle this. like that kind of thing. Like with the promo, she's like just trashing Marina Shafir's like, I don't even know who you are, Mark. Just say something.
I'm glad she's back to being a heel because she's a natural heel because she's such a like a perfect human. You know, like she's a great athlete. She's beautiful. Like she's kind of got everything going on. She's top of her game in wrestling. You know, so like it makes her very like I can't relate to this person, so I dislike her. You know what I mean? Yes. She's not the common man, common woman. Like Death Day Rhodes, baby. She's not. She's not. She's like you know what humans would want to be if they were in control of it. So, yeah, that's why she should be a heel.
Yes. And like it's just the kind of identity she gives off. And like heck, I've said this before, like my girlfriend, that's her favorite wrestler. She knows nothing about wrestling. She specifically went to AEW Dynamite to see Jade Cargill.
Yep.
And Marcus can attest to she just asked her about it on the phone and she was like, I like Jade a lot.
Yeah, I was like, how was Dynamite? And she was like, well, she's not a wrestling fan, but she was like, Jade is awesome. Like, well, she is. And I mean, that speaks volumes when a casual or non-wrestling fan can see this person and be like, I like this person. That's a really, really good thing.
Marcus, we got to talk about this real quick. I got to even make the fucking Rebellion post. I have not made the Rebellion post yet on WrestleZone.
You want me to filibuster, Dom?
Well, I literally have to make the post, so
we're gonna have to roll out.
We're gonna have to roll out. But
hey, let the record reflect. This was not me doing this. This was all Dom.
Well, no, actually, this was you, Marcus.
Letting you down.
Letting you down. Let me down because
no, our faithful listeners, you're letting them down.
No. Now listen here, Marcus. You wanted to start at 7:15. I wanted to make it work for you. So.
Oh well, certainly we could have covered the rest of Dynamite in 15 minutes. Go ahead, Dominic.
Marcus, all right. Did we see a double turn on Dynamite here with Sammy Guevara, Ty Conte, and then you got fucking Dan Lambert getting cheered.
Kind of, yes, sort of did. I think that Pittsburgh crowd is a little bit unique though. Very blue collar region, so it's, again they can relate a little bit more to somebody like Dan Lambert than they can to Sammy Guevara.
Sammy's laying it on pretty thick. Sammy and Ty are laying it on pretty thick of the you know.
Clearly it's a turn.
Yeah.
So again, he should be a heel. He's a natural heel. Great at being a heel. The whole like sticking his tongue out when he's talking and stuff. He doesn't do like the really weird tongue stick out anymore, but every once in a while he just like sticks it out when he's like proving a point or whatever. Yes. Or he says something he thinks is funny, and it's like it's a hateable kid, which is great. Which is great.
No, he's a perfect heel. He should be a heel.
Yep,
and him and Ty, I think that's only going to elevate them more once they turn full.
100%. Ty Conti needs to be a heel as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. Shoot, there was something I was going to say. Oh, Brandon Phillips is Jade Cargill's husband. That's awesome. Brandon Phillips was the Cincinnati Reds second baseman.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, pretty awesome. Okay. Okay, we got to go. Marcus, what's going on here at Free Shows? What's happening?
Hey, what's going on?
Let me know here.
Get over to adfreetrial.com. Check out a 10-day free trial of adfreeshows.com. The best wrestling podcasts on the face of the planet. Even over ours, Dom. Even over ours.
Wow.
Well, obviously, I mean, it's a huge network, huge stars. If you become a member at a high enough tier, you get to interact with people like Eric Bischoff, like Arn Anderson, Jeff Jarrett. I could go down the fucking line, pal. There's not to mention special guests we bring in, oftentimes people from AEW, wrestling legends. So yes, make sure that you are a part of adfreeshows.com. No, Steven, this is all fucking I'm burning through this shit right now. That's if it were up to me, 30 more minutes of this. It's all
Marcus's fault.
30 more minutes of this, but I'm fucking burning tires through my plugs. Follow me at Marcus P. DeAngelo. And Dominic, what kind of bullshit do you have to plug?
Hey, Marcus, speaking of ad-free shows, if you subscribe at the lowest level, you get my daily newsletter of this Wrestling with History. Every day I give you a little this day in history, little factoid article write up, and it's a lot of fun. I like doing it a lot.
By the way, Dominic, one last thing to plug on my end: go to doublejlive.com. That's doublejlive.com.
On my end, or go to roaddoglive.com.
Because it's the Ain't We Great Tour 2022. You've got Jeff Jarrett, you've got Brian, Road Dogg, James, and they're doing live shows, baby, and it's on tour. And guess who's going to be there for every single damn one of them? Both me and Dominic. Probably, actually, just me, probably for all of them. I don't know if Dom's going to make it to all of them.
Not maybe. I don't know. We don't. Yeah, but yes, we'll be there in Vegas, baby. So if you wanna gamble with the degenerate DeAngelo Brothers, we're there.
Yeah,
we're there.
Hit us up. Let's hang out in Vegas.
Yes,
but more importantly, Chet, you gotta go to the show because it's two wrestling legends. It's the Roadie. It's Double J from the hottest heel angle of 1995 in WWF. You guys have got to check it out. Awesome, incredible storytellers, hilarious, great show. Plus, you get all kinds of swag. You get to meet them. You guys got to go. So by all means, check out doublejlive.com or roaddoglive.com. All right, Dom, you have anything you want to plug before we get the fuck on out of here?
I interviewed Lash LaRue for Time Limit Draw. That's on after show. You got to listen to this interview once I get it posted and written up. It's awesome.
Lash is the man.
Talks so much good stuff. Great insight. And just a lot of fun background about Lash LaRue, who's been out of the business for 12 years, and ad-free shows is basically his getting back into the business in a roundabout way. So,
gotta say, Dom, Nesha is over here talking about how didn't get to see you for that long. Zero mention of not getting to see me.
Well, there's a reason for that, Marcus. You've lost goodwill with people.
I've really isolated myself from the listeners. Well, I'll tell you what, you guys come out to Vegas, I'll give you an autograph.
For $5, probably, right? You'll
only $5, but autograph and photo combo for $7.
You can get for me, it's only $2, guys. But hey,
Dom, unlikely heel turn from you there.
I know, right? A passive aggressive heel turn. All right, I gotta go. I literally have 4 minutes to make this rebellion post.
Hey, dude, appreciate you fucking up the end of the podcast here.
Marcus,
and guys, we'll catch you next week right here on 2 Dynamite Dudes on a Rampage. See you guys later.
See you guys. Sorry about